Fundstrat, also well known as a CNBC contributor. I'm Christine Lee. I am the lead anchor at CoinDesk. We have daily shows, weekdays, live, 9 a.m. First Mover, 3 o'clock, all about Bitcoin on CoinDesk.com. So I am very proud to say that on CoinDesk we have a very strong female team. I'd say that about 90% of our production multimedia team is female. So I'm just very grateful to be among a very supportive community, a very great environment for women to thrive. And I guess that's why I have the opportunity and privilege of working there as an anchor as it is, because there is so much top-down support. So maybe we can go along the panel here and first introduce ourselves and what we do. So starting with Tom.
My name's Tom Lee, and I'm the co-founder of a research firm called Fundstrat, which was started 7 years ago. And we do quite a lot of work in crypto and blockchain. We have many consulting clients. That's about it.
He's also just a major Bitcoin bull. He's on CNBC all the time. He's just always, the one saying Bitcoin's going to reach $1 million. So he's a character.
And he's been right. Over the years, we've been friends for a long time, and Tom is one of the best out there.
I'd say like a couple years ago, it was crazy to say that Bitcoin would reach $50,000, but yeah, he was right.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Seth Ginns. I'm one of the managing partners at CoinFund. My background is traditional equities investing for 18 years. Got involved in crypto back in 2012 and joined CoinFund at the beginning of 20 and launched our hedge fund product. CoinFund was founded in 2015. We're one of the earliest crypto investment firms, headquartered in New York and now Miami as well. And we focus on early stage venture, Series A venture, and then liquid markets. We have about 34 employees now, billion AUM. When I joined, we were 7 people, 12 million AUM, so it's been quite a ride. And yeah, very focused on D&I initiatives and hiring. We can talk a bit about that later.
I'll also say in the early days, I remember talking to the CoinFund folks. They were a small team. We'd meet at hotels, because there was no real office space. And they were just, really into crypto and just said, we're really bullish on these projects. And it came to be that they were right as well. And then we have Nicole at the end. And I love your story, Nicole, of how you got into crypto. So please go ahead.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me here. I'm Nicole Colwell, and so I have about, over 20 years in the IT industry, selling major deals for companies like Hewlett-Packard Enterprise and also for GE Digital. And I was kind of hesitant to get involved in crypto or blockchain, Web3, heard about it. I love technology. I'm not a technologist, but I feel like I'm tech savvy, and I kind of shied away from it. So, been startup advising for the past several years, was introduced to Prasaga, which is a layer 1 blockchain, and it clicked for me. I finally understood it. I realized it wasn't something schemy or something, I don't know, crypto kind of had an image in my mind, and I realized it was something so different with blockchain, with Web3, new technology. And that's what I loved about the project. It made sense to me, this layer 1 blockchain that you could build applications on. So,
excellent. So I loved your story, Nicole, because you said when your co-founders spoke to you, they were looking for someone like you, and really that is the crux of the change that needs to happen. It comes from the men.
Absolutely.
Can you tell us that's right?
Yeah, it makes a difference, absolutely. So when I met our CEO, Michael Holdman, he explained to me, I had shied away from blockchain, like I said. I kind of understood the basics, but when he showed me the demo, of what our Saga chain could do, I started asking him questions like, could this apply to social security numbers? Could it apply to the food chain, food supply chain for traceability? Yes, yes. And I started coming up with all these different business cases. And he said, it's okay, Nicole, you've got it, you've got it. And he said, this is why I need you here, because you do get it. And he very much, very supportive leadership team, definitely inclusive and wanting to bring different perspectives into the mix. That's one of the reasons why we're open source, because we're not going to build all the applications ourselves. We want to open it up to the world to be able to build these incredible applications, things that haven't even been thought of yet.
Mm-hmm. You know, as a woman in tech and in finance, tell me a bit about some of the barriers you've faced and how you've overcome some of those glass ceilings.
Being a minority in the tech industry, I mean, there's so few women in there, but we're increasing, and that's the good news. We're starting to see more women. And being able to have some amazing leaders, and some that I have here today with me at my table, were inspirational and motivating. And I want to set that example for other women in the field, because there are challenges. It is different. It is unique for women in tech and in finance too. It doesn't draw in a lot of women to the industry. So how can we change the conversation to have women taking a pivotal role in this new wave of technology in Web3? We kind of missed out a little bit on Web 1 and 2. So Web3 is an amazing opportunity to bring women into the picture with our insights and our contributions.
Mm-hmm. Tom, you said that you believe crypto is a little better than the Wall Street world and the Silicon Valley world, but tell me a bit about, you know, how you see women being involved in Web3.
I wouldn't be surprised if the percentage of women in Web3 will end up being 10 times that of Wall Street. And that's because, you know, the financial world has a lot of traditions. I think there's, you know, historically been like a male culture. And I think that that's changing. But I think men are probably scared of women being dominant. There was a great study that MIT showed that, you know, there's this thing where they call like people who liquidate their accounts like panic sell. And it turns out MIT did a study of all trading accounts across Goldman, Schwab, Robinhood, and they found that men age 54 and white were the most likely to panic sell. So they're actually, you know, which in Wall Street is like the worst thing to do. Like, you know, when stocks go down, you shouldn't panic sell. You should be buying, like, it, you know. And so that's why I think men are in Wall Street tend to be a little worried about women. I think it's changing, obviously, but I think, you know, I've been in the business 30 years. 30 years ago, it was definitely that fear. And, you know, tech, I think, historically, and I'm generalizing, has been male-dominated because of computer science, has been at the core. And, you know, generally, I mean, I don't know if you've been to MIT, but it's mostly men. I think that's changing because my oldest daughter is a computer science major, and she's a software engineer at Spotify. But she's one of the few women. You know, she talks about that too. But, you know, in Silicon Valley, if it's tech engineers and they're socially awkward, it's hard for them to kind of say, oh, well, we need to get some women in our group. And so I think that's part of why I'm generalizing. Again, it's taken forever. Mm-hmm. But I think Web3 is very different because people aren't just building technology stacks, they're building communities and products. And you don't only need finance bros or tech bros to do that. And especially if the targets you're trying to create are communities of people who are using social media. I mean, I think the biggest influencers in social media are women, not men. I mean, I would say, like, when I think my kids who they follow on TikTok or, you know, Instagram, I don't think they're like saying, oh, you know, Rick Shaw is doing a great job on Instagram. I bought his cologne, you know, so.
The number one influencer on Instagram is Kendall Jenner.
Yeah.
Followed by Christiana, who's
Yeah.
a football player. But Seth,
Yeah.
so we're all about trying to figure out how do you raise money for women in Web3, and you're a prominent, well-known VC hedge fund. So tell us, like, how do we get your attention?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I'd say a few things. And first, to piggyback on what Tom was saying, I think there was a big change in 2017. So before 2017, crypto was very much about crypto bros. It was very, very male dominated. And it was also very engineering dominated. So people who came from my walk of life, from finance, from traditional business, found it very difficult to engage with projects. And 2017 showed that business development was really important. And I think that opened up the community to what Tom was noting, to a much more diverse set of participants. By discipline, by gender, and I think
ethnicity
that's
too.
and ethnicity, 100%. And I think that has and crypto has also moved from being more, I'd say, developed world centric to being very geographically dispersed, very geographically diverse over the last few years as well. So these are kind of mega trends within crypto, which then lead to a much more diverse set of founders. What we're trying to do as well, I mean, it's interesting. You have a cohort of candidates who have been through kind of the trauma of the traditional tech world or the traditional finance world. But then there's a whole new set of candidates who are coming out of college now who haven't been through that trauma, who see this as a completely open area to engage with. And I'll tell you, I mean, we were interviewing a young woman, 18 years old, based in Dubai. So this kind of shows you she's, without getting too specific on who she is, one part of her family is from Africa, the other part from Europe. She was like, I'm interested in how you approach diversity at CoinFund. And I was talking through it, and she said, no, I'm not talking about that type of diversity. I'm talking about age diversity. Everyone who's interviewed me has been 30 and above. You're all old. So there are all types of, but what's great is, I mean, we're seeing that type of broadening out of engagement. You don't even need to have the traditional college track or computer science master's or PhD. So crypto really is about opening up the opportunity set much more broadly than even I was thinking of with regard to D&I.
And from what I understand is you actively seek out women and
That's right.
women-led projects. Maybe you can tell
That's
me
right.
about
I mean, I think, so we are 30% women at CoinFund today, and I'd love to see that much higher. And the only way we're at 30% today is by actively seeking out female candidates. We are 10% African American. That's very uncommon within crypto. We need to change that. We need to find ways to actively address that. It's interesting. Our research team comes from a diverse set of backgrounds. So if we were looking to just hire people who had traditional finance backgrounds, we'd end up with the same candidate pool that you see on Wall Street. So we have candidates who have come from traditional venture, candidates who have come from crypto operating roles, but then we have crypto native in a sense that it is really just newly being defined, which is one of our analysts interned with us for his senior year of Dartmouth. He interned with another crypto fund for the 2 years prior to that, and then joined us right out of college. Amazing computer science, physics, African American, and just like got 3 deals in the portfolio right when he joined us full time. So an area that we're spending a lot of time on and really trying to be a leader in the space.
Awesome.
And also always looking for help. So if anyone has
Yeah,
suggestions, ways to engage, we're all ears.
Talk to Seth.
Absolutely.
All right, Nicole, do you have any advice for women seeking to raise money in the space to get their voices heard?
So much advice. But I think it is standing up and saying, hey, look at me. I need help here, or look at me. I'm here and I have something to offer, something to share. I think that is so important. And I love what you were saying, Seth, about actively seeking out women. That's what the founders of our organization did. They were actively seeking out women to join the leadership team, to bring our perspectives to the forefront as well, and to make sure that we have a seat at the table. And one thing that as advising startups, I always say that you need to have that diversity. You need to seek out different opinions and different perspectives. So diversity is incredibly important. I think also, if there's not a seat at the table for you, build your own table. I mean, that's what we need to do, right? And that's what's cool about Web3. There are so many opportunities in Web3 to be able to build your own table. And as entrepreneurs, absolutely, you have that opportunity with Web3, embrace it.
Okay. I guess, Tom, similar question. What kind of advice would you lend to women seeking to build in Web3 and attract investments and whatnot, and any issues you've had in terms of glass ceilings, racism, in doing your own research firm?
Yes, I think one of the things that when women face in terms of diversity is not that different than what ethnic diversity, people who are minorities like me face. Because in the early 90s, when I first got onto Wall Street, Asians were not common at all. In fact, when I was working at Salomon Brothers, I used to get stopped by security when I picked up my dinner because they thought I was the Chinese delivery guy. And if I left my ID upstairs, then someone would have to come down and prove I actually worked there. So it was pretty bad. It's different today. But, for me, it didn't bother me. It just meant I had to work harder. And I have 2 daughters. One of them, ended up being a software engineer, which is a male-dominated business, but we encouraged her when she was, young. We bought her a computer, and she got very interested in coding. And when she was in college, it was mostly men, but it didn't bother her. And my youngest, who's a junior in high school, I encouraged her really to be quite entrepreneurial, and in fact, she ended up starting a foundation, and it's already grown to be quite a big. It's actually it's grown to a large organization, and she's only in high school. So I think I would say, in my experience, there's no reason anyone can't do anything that they are determined to. But yes, there's always going to be barriers. But I know, when I got started on Wall Street, I think I was told constantly that, you're not someone that you're going to end up on the front office. And I remember even the first time I did an interview on CNBC for my former employer, I won't name it, but they're like, you're going to need a lot of coaching because, they didn't even think the audience would want to see me on TV. So I think things have changed a lot since then.
Wow. All right, we got to wrap things up, but a lot of great lessons here. The importance of resiliency and the fact that, Web3 is meant to be more inclusive. It's meant to be community-driven, self-sovereign, so you have a lot of opportunity to make what you can, make your table, as it were. And in terms of Nicole, great lessons in your co-founders were really receptive to having women. And so, the fact that you were just there and, wanted to also keep going through tech and managing the glass barriers of finance and being receptive to learning and wanting to grow. And Seth, if you guys want to invest or need money, come to Seth. He's looking for women.
Absolutely.
So Thank you so much, Tom, Seth, Nicole, for joining us. And it really is from the top down. We got to make sure that the men are on board just as much as obviously the women are. So thank you so much.